Oh, good morning, gentlemen. My name is Robert Martin. I come from Brisbane, Australia. During the Second World War, April 1944, we had two Spitfire squadrons formed in Strathpine. It was only recently that we found out that the significance of a street called Spitfire Avenue was actually one of three airfields during the war. On April 19th, two pilots from 548 Squadron took off from this street. There were four Spitfires in the air. They were RAF pilots with Australian ground crew. Had a mid-air collision. They both come down to the next suburb. April this year was our 11th memorial service to one of these two pilots, where we have members of the ground crew attend, and this will repetitively happen each year at the crash sites. So I put together this documentary to honour these two men. One pilot, Flight Sergeant Alan Victor Chandler from Chingford in Essex. The other pilot was William Henry Alexander Wright, squadron leader from Helensburgh, Scotland. At the moment, the same time as this presentation, these extra DVDs will be entered into the hometown libraries of these two pilots. On behalf of myself, Councillor David Dwyer from the Moreton Bay Regional Council and the President of the RAAF Association in Pine Rivers, I'd like to present to the museum and also to Southampton City Library copies of this DVD to honour these two men. First of all, I'd like to present this street sign to the museum. Mr. Jones, you're welcome to take that. We have squadron numbers at the bottom. You may have that from Australia. Also, I'd like to enter in two Spitfire Avenue DVDs. It took me 6 years to produce this DVD with a total budget of 300 Australian dollars. It's now completed, and I'd like you to have this as a gift. The two pilots were never sent home. They're buried in Brisbane, Australia. This is a picture of the two pilots side by side in Lutwich War Memorial in Brisbane. You might have that along with that. This also is what the road looks like now. I took that a couple of months ago. Without the houses, the air base would have been wider. So you may enter that as well. Also, here's a picture of two Spitfires taking off from that same street. The squadrons 548, 549 were RAF pilots with Australian ground crews. They then moved up north to help defend against the Japanese attack. So they were here for around a year. You may enter that as well. And I would also like to tribute two DVDs to the council library as well. So thank you for that. On behalf of myself and all the people involved with the production, I would like to donate them to the Southampton Library, and also a photograph of what the runway looked like, which is now a suburban street. Any questions?
Thank you very much indeed for coming all this way from Australia to present this plaque to us. It's very important, of course, because you're standing in the very place where Spitfire was created. And as you know, that the Spitfire, which was a dream of Mitchell, R.J. Mitchell, and was designed originally as a thoroughbred, which they thought would only be a very small number built to defend this country. In fact, by the end of the war, 22,000 were built. And they were all Spitfires, no matter what mark, from the prototype to the Mark 24, to actually design in Southampton. And it's very poignant also because Southampton is the Spitfire is so important to Southampton, because in 1940, when the city was bombed, the factory was totally destroyed, and the Spitfire production went out through the city, and there was 8,000 Spitfires built here. Now, I'm not sure where Spitfires operating in Australia were built, but there's a very, very strong connection with the Spitfires throughout the world. In fact, they fought in every theatre of the war during the Second World War and after. So thank you very much indeed for coming along. You're welcome. Very much appreciated. I'm very, very pleased to strengthen the ties between Australia and us here in Great Britain and through the Spitfire. Thank you very much indeed.
No worries. Thank you.